now let's bring in a victims' rights person, Jennifer Harrison, comes to us from Suffolk County, and she is the founder of the crime victims advocacy group, Victims' Rights New York. So I understand you had a shooting in your neighborhood. That's a suburban neighborhood out in Suffolk, just a couple of days ago, right?
Actually, last night, as I was emailing back and forth with your producers and getting my son ready for bed at the same time, I heard for the first time in my life what's that? We thought it was fireworks at first, and then it was like a little more of a pop, pop, pop across the creek from me. It ended up being a shootout, a drive-by shooting. People were driving by in a car and shooting. I don't know where exactly. We're waiting for the police reports, but it was extremely scary.
Do you have a gang problem in your suburban neighborhood?
We do. I
So,
actually live in the same community as Lee Zeldin.
okay, I know where it is. So this New York insanity now leaves people like you and your son vulnerable to violence. And Albany and the governor, Hochul, they don't care. Do they care? Have they responded to you?
No, they block me on social media actually. So the Speaker of the Assembly, Carl Heastie, has blocked me on all sorts of social media. The Crime Victims Committee, Senator Julia Salazar, who is the chairwoman of the Crime Victims Committee, has blocked me on social media. So that's how much they care about victims in New York.
Why did they block you? Did they give you a reason?
There is no reason, because I call them out on their bad policies on social media, and they don't want their electorate or constituency to see their policies.
Okay, so you didn't attack them personally or say anything obscene or anything like that.
No.
Now, in New York, we had an election in November where you had a guy, Lee Zeldin, who you mentioned, who would have reformed this insane, permissive crime situation. Yet he lost to Kathy Hochul, who is responsible for the death of thousands of innocent people. She's directly responsible because she signed the legislation. Okay. So isn't it the fault of New York voters? They're not stepping up to protect themselves?
I'm a bit conflicted on that, Bill. I'm glad that you asked that question, though, because I wonder if it is the New York voter themselves that are to blame, or if the media is complicit as they continue to cover for these elected officials and their bad policies.
Well, there's no
So
doubt
I don't
about
know.
that. There's no doubt about the media is complicit. But I think everybody in New York, at least downstate where we are, know the extent of the violence. I mean, you'd have to know it because of the internet and New York Post, programs like mine that report it on a regular basis. So yes, the media covers, but everybody's got to know how bad it is, yet they still continue to vote for the politicians that allow it to happen.
Well, there are also community leaders that are complicit, that convey the wrong message that Kathy Hochul is their savior and the Democrats are their saviors. And you mentioned in your monologue that the reason for this is that they consider these mass incarceration policies, as they call it, racist. But on the other hand, you have to look at who these armed Black men are killing, and that's other young Black men and Black children. So
Those
is
stats are
ending
readily,
mass
those stats, Jennifer, are readily available. We've reported them many, many times. 90% of African Americans in New York City voted for Hochul, even though they can see with their own eyes their own brethren shot and dying in the streets. 90% voted for the woman who made that possible. It is, to me, inexplicable.
I agree, and that's why I formed a political action committee to try and raise awareness to these issues and campaign against politicians that are implementing dangerous policies like bail reform and raise the age and less is more. Kathy Hochul signed Less is More, which was actually written by a convicted gang member and murderer, Derek Singletary, knowing that he would be released one day and on parole, and that he had already been sent back to prison for violating parole. So I call them the merry band of idiots in Albany, and I just hope that people wake up before it's too late. It might already be too late, but hopefully we could just pray that we get through.
Yeah, I don't know. New York may be gone. California certainly is. Illinois is. Chicago's gone. New York, I think it could come back, but I'm not sure it will. So your group is the Victims' Rights New York. They can go online and get information about your group, Victims'
Yes,
Rights New York.
yes, it's victimsrightsnypac.com.
Okay. Stay safe out there, Jennifer. Thanks for helping us out. We appreciate it.
Thank you.